All right, independent client, customer Murray. This is a home that is remodeled about a year or so ago, maybe a little longer. The cabinets that are here are store stock oak cabinets. So these are the off the shelf oak cabinets. They painted them gray, but you can see they didn't put very many wall cabinets in the room here. And I've got an entire wall back here that has nothing on it. This is just freestanding stuff he's bought at Costco or Sam's or something to be able to have some storage. So basically, what we're coming in here to do is to evaluate what he has and then come up with a solution for new cabinets that will be installed unfinished, and then he will come after we do the installation and finish them in place, paint them in place. So first thing to start off with is this corner cabinet, which is just kind of crazy hanging there, just one wall cabinet, not even turning the corner. That's an 1830, and that cabinet is coming down for sure. But the top alignment for that is at 7 feet, 84 inches. So we start looking at the spacing that we have here. There's a couple of options. The first one is a diagonal wall corner cabinet, and you have 27 inches to the door trim or the window trim on one side. You have 35 inches to the window trim on the left. So you're going to have over a foot over here of open wall and 3 inches on that side, which isn't going to be very symmetrical. So there's another way we can do this, and that is to take a wall 2430, take off the left-hand door, and make a wall blind corner cabinet out of it, pulled to the door trim or the window trim here. And then on the right-hand side, or the left-hand side, we'll actually take a 35-inch space, which is minus 12. It's going to be 24. So you're looking at probably a wall 21 or a wall 18 here, and then we'll actually do the same thing. We'll put a return on it and then put another cabinet here. So you'll have these two sides completely filled up with cabinetry versus it being just the diagonal wall corner cabinet in the corner of the room. Now that's one solution there. The other one is here. He's got 30 and 3/4 inches or so of space, 30 and 5/8 of space. This step out here on the window sill is below the line, so it's not a problem, 54 inches above it. The one thing is that above a stove area, you have to have non-combustible surfaces within 36 inches, okay? So if we just put a cabinet here with no hood, no microwave, no anything, and we would put a 3012 cabinet there, and that would satisfy that 36-inch space there, 72 to the bottom, to be able to make sure that we don't have any problems with fire codes. Now the bottom of that cabinet is unfinished, so we definitely have to put some type of board on it to make it to where you wouldn't look at the bottom of the cabinet being unfinished. And then the other thing is he talked about maybe doing a hood here or a microwave. So if we do a microwave, we're still going to use the 3012 cabinet. Okay, that's going to bring the microwave down to where it's supposed to be at. But if we're using a range hood here, we're going to use a wall 3018. And a wall 3018 is going to bring the bottom of the hood within 24 inches of the surface of the stove area. So that's going to be the right spacing for a regular range hood. And that's assuming that's a 6-inch range hood. So a couple of different things here that we can change and add that would actually make it more storage and then better above the range area. He would be responsible for pulling the electrical for that. If we decided to use a microwave or a range hood, we would only be hanging the cabinetry, and then he would hang the microwave or the range hood after we were done. Now, if you take a look here, this is the L shape that's existing. Got a dishwasher here to the right of the apron sink. A couple of numbers that I want to make sure that are clear. It's about 7¼ inches here is what we have between the door trim and the end of the cabinet. There's a vent in the floor right here. Wants to be careful about this egress here between the corner edge of this cabinet and the cabinet we're putting up on this wall. So on this wall, he wanted me to put an 18-inch pantry that was 84 inches tall, 24 inches deep. Not a problem. That's still going to leave room for the door to pocket behind it. The door will open fully to 90 inches or 90 degrees. But as far as the spacing here, you're going to be down around 30 or so between them. I'll be able to dictate that and I put it in the drawing to give you some idea of that. Up here above this is a 36-inch refrigerator that's 35 inches deep and 70 inches tall. So instead of doing a refrigerator cabinet here that would go all the way back against the wall, what we talked about doing was putting a 3/4 inch piece of birch plywood here on the side, put a piece of finished molding on the front to edge trim it, and then right here you can see their countertop is already made completely flush with the edge of this cabinet. So it would just add a wall to the side of this. Then we would take a 3612 cabinet, go above the refrigerator with, pull it forward and have a voided space behind it. And then we would cap this area with some 1/4 inch, 2 foot by 4 foot plywood to make sure that we don't have any light or shadow come in from the top behind that refrigerator space. So it brings the cabinet out to 24 inches where you can actually reach it and utilize the cabinet that you bought instead of it being on top of a ladder to get back there to it. Now then we have this end panel here. We have an 18-inch cabinet. Well, where did we get that 18-inch cabinet? It's that little long guy right over there. We're going to bring it back over here, put it back on the wall, and that way it's matching without having to order another cabinet, matching the cabinet below it. This is an 18-inch here. Now the offset, the margin offset right there, look at the drawing real quick. The offset margin for that one, all right, here's our notes for this one. Margin offset for there is 8 inches. So as when we're putting our door in at 40, that door is 1 inch out of the corner. Forgot to add that one. So 1 inch here, 40 inches of the door. 8 inches of margin is where that base 18 is placed at right now. And so the last thing to talk about is this wall here. So 123 1/4 from the side of this door trim to the corner over there. Again, we've got this corner cabinet, so we want to be very careful about that spacing. Now, a couple things. He provided me with an elevation for that wall. We call it elevation A. Let me look at it real quick here. Elevation A, we had talked about a bridge cabinet. Talked about a bridge cabinet in the middle, 2 cabinets on your side, 66 inches worth of space, 12 inches to depth. And that's fine. It will work just fine like that. The other items that he has here are deeper than that. They're 18 to 20 inches deep or so for some of these other items. So one of the things I talked to him about was maybe instead of doing just 66, maybe it's 72 or maybe it's 78. Because the depth isn't as great, then the corner point from here to the other sides wouldn't be as deep. We also talked about making the countertop on top of this maybe 21 or 24 inches deep instead of 13 inches deep. Again, these were wall cabinets that we were putting in the bottom here, and we would construct a base for that so that you would actually have this all inside of 13 inches. But if we wanted to put another cabinet here, a 30-30 cabinet here, make these cabinets go all the way across, straight across, then we would maximize our storage on this wall, and then we would still get the spacing that we needed to sit at, like a laptop or whatever, by adding the overhang of the countertop on just this area. So saddle stools are only 9 inches wide. So if you have a countertop that's coming out from the wall like that, your saddle stools would still fit underneath, tuck underneath that countertop overhang right nicely. And then you would be able to put your lighting or whatever on the bottom of the upper cabinet walls, because they do have a 1-inch alcove underneath those. The only other thing to talk about on this one is there's some electrical plugs here now. I believe they're down low. Yeah. And so those electrical plugs, we'll want to put that in our drawing that they need to be moved up above the countertop height. We would put the junction box in the back of the cabinet, of course, where it's accessible. But then this would just be a pop-in box with a little leader that runs down to that other junction box to where they would be accessible for the Keurig and some of the other pieces to be above that. So that's pretty much it. Let me go back. We'll go over the drawing here real quick. Here we are in the corner. These are 2 doors. This is 6 inches, 37 for that door, 30 3/4 to this window. This is the range, and this is section C that we're looking at, the C elevation. 48 3/8 is your window, 35 to the corner, 27 here. 62 5/8 is the window above the sink, 42 1/4 between the window trim and the door trim. That's at 7 1/4 inch margin where the vent is in the floor right there. 37-inch door, 3 1/2 inches behind the door to the corner, 117 1/4 to the door trim over here. And again, this is an 8-inch margin offset from that door trim. 40 inches of the door, 1 inch behind the door, 123 1/4 is our overall length here. And right here, we want to keep a 12-inch margin against that door trim because there's a switch that's here actually on that door right there. So, and then 41-inch door, 6 inches back to the other corner. And the average ceiling height in here, I believe, is it's 8-foot ceilings. So we're only going to keep it a top alignment of 84 though, and utilizing stock item pieces for this. All right, if you have any questions about anything, feel free to give me a call back at 423-650-1051. Have a great day.